The tester of the pattern?
The tester, you see how a tester is, most likely? How do you create that effect?
So weaving, the nature of weaving, you can basically thread your loom in a way that allows you to do all kinds of different patterns. So this is from a pattern book. It's like a hand weaver's, I forget the name right now, but it's a very basic, it's a very well known, you probably, the pattern book for harness looms.
I love that book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very, all weavers use it. So this is and I was supposed to look it up. I think it's like Hannah Enrikson's something is the title. It's like a Scandinavian pattern that I used, that I threaded the loom, and then you follow a threading pattern. Thank you.
So is that like the type of style, or is like something new?
Yeah, no, it's not a new technique. No, definitely not a new technique. It's
It's my first time seeing it like this, in this pattern.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, you can actually build your own patterns. I don't, but people do.
How does one do that?
Well, actually, I mean, it's math. But also, like, I was listening to an interview with Cecilia Vicuña, and she was talking about how there's weavers in Peru who, like, people can't actually decode their patterns. So how do they make those patterns? I don't know, you know?
Wow. I think that's the really cool part, is that like pattern, like drafting a weaving wasn't really like fully formed into one language until very recently, and different people had different ways to like write their patterns and like decode their patterns.
What is is it almost like a binary system where you're like, you need to account for like the top or the back or what's the mathematical component?
It's just like the basics of computer 0 and 1. Yeah. And then I guess up to, I don't know, maybe you can speak to that more.
I think it's more, well, how I interpret weaving drafts is like working first by like a grid system that you can choose what pieces of thread are lifted up and lifted to the bottom, and that is how a pattern is created. So it is a lot like math, and it's a lot of planning. I think that that's something that I was really surprised about when I first started weaving, is like how much planning is involved in like the first half of it. But then once everything is on the loom and everything is threaded, then it just like, it goes faster than the actual planning or like dressing process.
When you're like threading a loom, you're like, why do I weave? Weaving is, why does this hurt my back? And then when you're weaving, you're like, oh, I love this. This is great. Like, this is so good. I'm so happy.
How do you then balance if the kind of like the upfront component, which requires like so much, you know, consideration, with a kind of like intuitive art making? Like, do you feel like those things are in tension, or?
I like that balance a lot. I think it like scratches both sides of my brain, and that's why I was like always drawn to weaving, because there's also something nice about like once everything is set up, you're working with a structure, and then you can work so intuitively within it.
Yeah, it kind of creates like a confines within which you have a lot of freedom.
Right.
Yeah.